Fraser Fitzgerald is the nicest chef in the world. Was there a pageant, Fraser? Was there like a contest? Did you have to sign up? How how did you determine this?
Yeah, so one day, Anthony Bourdain called me and said, "Yeah, we got this list with Gordon Ramsay and Jamie Oliver and Maddie Matheson and you, and you're gonna enter this contest where you can win number one spot." And so that's how it happened.
Shut up.
No, I'm just kidding.
I know you are.
I've always been told like I'm too nice and like you're too nice and too quiet and too whatever. And I think a lot of the times people use niceness as like a negative thing.
Right.
And I really don't even like the word, because it's like when you meet someone for the first time, like if they don't have anything nice to say, like they generally just say like, "Oh, like they're really nice." But being nice is like, in my opinion, like that's like, personality trait number one. Like everyone should have that.
Yeah, like a default.
Yeah, yeah. So I just figured like, well, I've been told I'm really nice my whole life, so why don't I just use that as my tagline? Hi, I'm Fraser Fitzgerald, and you're entering a world gone good.
Well, hello, my name is Steve, and this is the place where we highlight everyday people making good happen each and every day. Welcome to World Gone Good. Summer is upon us. Take us with you wherever you're off to. World Gone Good makes the best traveling companion. We don't even mind the middle seat on the plane. We are that good. You know what else is a good thing about summer? Let's see. How about a super fun murder mystery beach read? That's summary. Might I suggest Drown Town, available on both Amazon and Barnes & Noble websites. It's my first ever published book, and my second ever published book is coming very soon. It's the follow-up to this one, so you need to get your story straight and get caught up. Find Drown Town on Amazon and Barnes & Noble websites right now, and bring us with you, World Gone Good, ready to go with you wherever you want to go this summer. So yeah, it's summertime, like I said, and that means it's time for barbecues and wine tastings and ice pops and otter pops and bomb pops and all the pops and the foods that there is to yum. God, I love food. And not just the food itself. I love the creation and preparation part. I love the gathering together for a big bowl of pasta that gets whipped up and some crunchy bread to go with it. A nice Tuscan olive loaf is always my favorite. Some good olive oil. And of course, a nice glass or two or three or more of a bold red or crisp white wine. Or it's summer, everybody. How about a rosé? Rosé all day. Food brings us together, and that's something our good guest fully understands. I found him on Instagram and fell down the rabbit hole watching him make these sauces and do things with mushrooms, and just really liked his energy and style. So I did that thing I've done quite a few times before. I sent him an email and I asked him, "Hey, do you want to come share your good?" And he wrote back a giant hell yeah. Here comes the nicest chef in the world, Fraser Fitzgerald, to share his good story. Okay, to start this whole thing off, even though we've already started, I have a couple cooking questions. Can I ask you?
Yeah, you can ask me anything.
Okay, great, because I think my audience wants to know this. Question number one. Do we heat the pan first and then put the oil in, or do we put the oil in and heat the pan?
Yeah, so you know what? Obviously heat the pan, but there are a couple things, like not all pans are created equal. So I think it's changing a little bit, but definitely the non-stick era is kind of pretty much what everyone uses nowadays. But nonstick pans are not supposed to be heated that high. They're supposed to be heated over like a low medium heat, or else like the nonstick coating kind of starts to break down and kind of deteriorate. So yeah, definitely preheat a pan and then put the oil in, preheat the oil, and then put whatever you're cooking in. Because if you put cold food into a cold pan with cold oil, it'll just take that much longer to heat up and start cooking. So, if you put cold food into a hot pan with hot oil, it'll start to cook right away.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Question number 2. Is it weird that I have a favorite knife?
No, not weird at all. I think it's great that you have a favorite knife. A lot of people don't have one of those. Like, it doesn't matter the knife you have. Like, it really doesn't. All that matters is that it's sharp and that it's comfortable in your hand. Because if it's not comfortable and it's not, something you want to reach for, then you'll never want to use it.
Right.
Yeah, if you buy this $200 knife and it looks nice, but it's kind of awkward and big and you're kind of scared of it, you're not going to use it. So you're not going to cook. Big fan of stainless steel knives. I think they don't get enough representation.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, how am I doing with my questions so far?
Oh, they're great.
Okay, good. That's what I like to hear. I like to hear great. Question number 3, and this goes back to something in my family. Okay, stay with me, everyone. Strawberries. Do we wash the strawberry first and cut the top off, or cut the top off and wash the strawberry?
Genuinely never thought about this before. I now that I'm thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably wash the strawberries and then cut the tops off. Like, is this for immediate eating or is this for like whatever?
I don't know. My Aunt Ruthie, may she rest in peace, my favorite aunt, my dad's aunt, my great aunt, okay? Freaked out if you cut the top off first and washed it under, the faucet. And she would say, you're washing the flavor out. You got to keep the top on, then cut the top off.
Oh, I see. Big fan of people who even wash their produce. I feel like a lot of people don't even think about it; they just eat it right away. But like, big fan of like, I like this idea, but I never actually like follow through with it. But like when you go to grocery store shopping, you come home and like prepping stuff and then putting it away is just like such a game changer. But I honestly I don't do it that much. But like I love the idea of that. Like, yeah, like washing all your berries and then like putting them in a new container with a little bit of paper towel, so that they're ready to go.
Now, let me ask a couple questions about you now, getting into all this, because this has been. Who knows if I'll leave this stuff in? I always edit stuff in. I like to get what I can get. Tell us about your path, your journey. You went to cooking school. You've always been in love with food. You come from a food family, a foodie kind of family.
Kind of to all those answers. Yeah, actually, we grew up like very, very. I don't know any other word to say it, but like very white, like very like the food we ate was very. I mean, my mom and my parents were okay at cooking, but like I would say, nothing special.
Was it like mayonnaise and like white bread and stuff, or what are we talking?
My mom was like kind of, she still kind of is kind of grew up with like the diet culture of the baby boomers, so she doesn't like carbs, and that's something that I think she should work through. Like the food, I wasn't actually that into food at all until I was about 20. So I'm 34 right now. So when I was 20, I've always been really into the environment and, trying to save the planet. So I wanted to go into renewable energy and solar power and all this stuff. But so yeah, when I was 20, I actually went vegetarian. And that's what really sparked my interest in food was like, oh, my mom's not, I was still living at home, but like my mom isn't going to make me dinner. So I have to figure something out, um, 3 times a day. And I luckily had 2 other siblings that were in the same scenario as me that were also vegetarian. So all 3 of us kind of jumped on board and, had to get into cooking. So that's what kind of sparked that interest in cooking initially. And that was when I was 20. And then fast forward like, I don't know, 4 years or so. Um, I was in the renewable energy industry. I got fired from my job. First time ever getting fired, and still the only time, but really like a real shock to the system, uh, and not really sure what to do. So I'd kind of always thought about culinary school. And at the time, I was vegetarian still, like 4 years vegetarian. Um, And I was really afraid of like cooking meat and like really afraid of being surrounded by meat and like butchery class and like all these things you think about with no expertise. I even actually went so far to like meet with the dean of the school to be like, listen, I'm vegetarian. I'm really afraid of this. Uh, you know, how much meat cooking do we actually do in this program and whatnot? And he was like, listen, dude, like you're not the first vegetarian to go through this school. Like you'll be fine. So basically, I applied, and then like a week later, I got accepted, and that was kind of my path. And like the reason that I chose to do that was like I could go back and work in renewable energy, and then who knows, like that opportunity to get fired was a real shocker to me, and I was like, shit, what if I'm in the same boat in a year, just repeating this cycle of kind of going in circles with these jobs. Why don't I take a risk and change my industry?
And you weren't passionate about it. You needed something to be passionate about, is what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
And a huge, like, I don't know what happened when I started in this culinary school, but like previous education, I was like the kid that like didn't care at all. Like I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to play guitar all the day. I wanted to hang out with my friends, play video games. Like I didn't care about school at all. Whereas when I started to go to culinary school, I would like show up early, stay late, like be such a nerd about with all the chefs. Like we called our teachers chefs, and it was just like such a different shift for me. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like I've never been like this guy.
And you were older when that happened. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You were older when that happened, right? I mean, you weren't 18. So you did experience some of life, and then you were like, but that's not life.
That was a really interesting to like, cause this program that I took was a program you could take right out of high school. So there were some 18-year-olds in my class, and I was kind of like, but there was also some people that were like in their mid 30s at the time. So I was kind of like middle aged for the class, I guess, with the experience of like, no, I hated my first career. So this is a shift and I want to go all in on this. And I think that really showed with the chefs, like, oh, this guy actually like cares. And that comes across. But that took those years of like learning and growth. Like I wouldn't have probably done that if I was 18. Within that 2-year program, I transitioned to being vegan. That was for a number of reasons, but the main one was one of my professors was actually vegan, and I saw her doing it, and I always thought in the back of my head like, oh, I could never work in this industry as a vegan. Like, what do they do? Like they can't do anything. So I saw her thriving and succeeding, and she was just killing it. So I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. And I've always thought that veganism was like the end goal for me. And then in 2021, I decided to start my own business, or 2020 actually. At the time, it was a meal kit company, but under that same business, we pivoted like literally like 4 times to the point where we ended up being a restaurant with breakfast and lunch. And then I ended up doing pop-ups all around like the Ontario brewery scene. We'd like pop up in different breweries and stuff. And then in 2023, I decided to shut that all down because it was insanely stressful. And I just, you know, you mentioned you might have worked in the film industry. I don't know if you ever worked in a kitchen, but like the margin for profit is so thin that like I just wasn't able to. I just didn't want that stress level in my life. Like I wanted to educate people and show people, how to cook food with the envision of like I'm going to focus on content creation and really grow this audience. And the reason why I really enjoy the online stuff is because cooking isn't complicated. It's something you do 3 times a day, so you might as well enjoy it, or at least like find little ways to enjoy it. So I've been kind of teaching in-person cooking classes for like half a decade, basically. So I felt like I could transfer those skills to an online presence. And then with online, you can really grow that audience to kind of whatever. 2023 was insane, like literally zero growth, stuck at 10,000 followers for literally 12 months. But I just knew that like continuing to go and move on and continuing to show up every day and working on this skill of like creating recipes and video content is something that I really wanted to do. And just if I give up, then it definitely won't work. But if I keep going, you never know kind of what's possible.
So a couple questions here. Food is caring. Do we inherently get that because it, we grew up around a table and shared meals together. I mean, there's some sort of something going on there, don't you think?
Most memories of like growing up is either like with my stupid bands or uh, like eating at my like meals at my cottage or like at our house. Like it's just like a lot of my memories are just around food, even though I wasn't even into food. It's just like that's what I think about. So yeah, it's like my parents definitely cared about what we were eating and food and I think that caring about what you eat and like making it it doesn't have to be like a sit down dinner, like a like Thanksgiving dinner every weekend, but like, if you take some time and energy towards it, like it doesn't have to feel like a chore every day. And like, I get that, like, you know, maybe I don't have, four kids running around and like, I don't have to work two jobs to like, make the rent. So like everyone has like different scenarios, but like, I think if you just kind of shift your perspective of, oh my God, I got to make dinner 7 days a week, three times a day. Like that is overwhelming. But, if you start with like a list, okay, this is my groceries for the week. What are we going to make with these groceries? How can I make this like somewhat enjoyable? That's a good starting point.
It's a great starting point. And speaking, going back for 1 second here, your parents, are they still around? And or, I mean, are they still with us, and or have they not disowned you? And have you cooked for them?
Yeah, my parents are still around. Definitely, they got divorced when I was 20, so I don't know if that's a factor of why I went changed my whole life, but like, I don't think it is. But yeah, they I cook most of the meals. Well, it's interesting. I'm a triplet, so
Wait, slow down.
yeah, so
You're a triplet.
it's very weird. I don't really know any other triplets, so I don't know how to like. There's no one to like talk about this with.
Are you identical triplets or fraternal?
Well, it's even weirder than that. Me and my brother are identical twins, actually,
Uh-huh.
and then our sister is a fraternal, obviously fraternal triplet.
Oh man, it was all that white person eating that must have affected your mom's
Maybe,
ovary. Guys,
but then on top of that, we have a brother who's 2 years younger than us.
okay.
So we're all like very similar in age.
Uh-huh.
So and on top of that, like all of us are plant based, and we've all four of us have kind of had to go through that journey of like, shit, my mom's not going to cook us dinner. Like we kind of got to grow up and cook for ourselves. So we're all
Right?
quite talented in the kitchen. I've always said this to people, like family gatherings. I think as a vegan, someone would think like you're generally like the odd person out. If when I go to my in laws' house, like I'm cooking my own thing, which is fine, but um, generally our family is incredibly easy. Like it's generally the four of us cooking. My wife is a very good cook. My sister-in-laws are very talented as well. So it's not like one of those things where like it's a chore. Again, maybe that's why it doesn't feel like it, but it's kind of like fun. We're all in the kitchen cooking, and it's just like a fun time.
And if somebody doesn't like something, you can just blame your brother because you're identical twins.
Exactly. It's actually interesting. It's weird when we're like literally eating dinner. It's like all we talk about is like, oh wow, this like asparagus is so good today. Like, oh, this is so good. Oh, I'd change this about this thing. Like, it's just like it's so interesting. And I don't think other families talk about that.
I think they do to some degree, but I think it's, well, I mean, anything that you're all, into is something you're going to talk about. But here's what's so funny, what you're talking about is like, you mentioned Thanksgiving, you talk about Christmas. For me, and I'm vegan, I was never into we were Jewish, so we didn't have Christmas, but Thanksgiving, I was never in a turkey. It's all the sides. I was always more excited to taste all the sides. You know what I mean? Like that's what I always like say is like friends of mine. I'm like, I just visited a friend of mine in Atlanta, and she looked up all these vegan restaurants because she's not vegan. But she wanted to make me comfortable. And I said, no, I can go. I don't want you to change your lifestyle for me. I can go anywhere and have sides and be perfectly happy. But again, it's all the love and caring that goes into that, big thing that you all get together in the kitchen and do together. It's like you're making art, you're making music, but you're using food.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, honestly, as a side note about those restaurants, like I love vegan businesses, but I'm honestly overwhelmed when I go to one because I have like, oh my God, I have more than one choice. Like,
Same, same, same. And then you have trouble deciding what you want to eat because you're like, I want to eat everything.
exactly. Yeah.
My family also is very, very supportive and um, constantly, looking at menus, making sure that I'll have something. Because my husband was vegan before I was. So that's kind of the transition. That was like a weird time because I was still eating meat, chicken, fish, all that stuff for like 3.5 years while he was vegan. So we had like, it was strange, but I finally transitioned over and I didn't really look back because I found, I mean, especially now, it's evolved so much. It's so much more than, you know, kimchi and some tofu. It's it's tons of things and you can get so creative. And one of my favorite things, which I see you doing online all the time to do, is I love when somebody challenges me in a fun, playful way, a family member, whoever, chicken parm, whatever the hell it is, can I veganize it? And I'm like, yeah, I can vegan it. I can make anything vegan. And I love that little adventure. And sometimes it comes out amazing, and sometimes it doesn't come out so amazing. But you get it. And that's kind of what you've been doing. And I wanted to ask you, are there dishes that were a challenge for you to how do I reinvent this?
Great question. The challenge of recreate, like I love that challenge of like recreating a chicken parm or something. But I often think about like, oh, if this wasn't vegan, like I could just buy. I mean, now you can buy a lot of the vegan stuff, but like, you know, I could just buy like ricotta and like I could just buy like chicken, and then it's already gotten like it already has the texture and everything right. Like I feel like cooking. I'm not saying that cooking is easy if you're a traditional like if you eat a traditional diet, but it's just like that part of like recreating the chicken texture and like making ricotta from like almonds or whatever, that's like fun to me, you know. So it's like I don't even know if I really like cooking if I was just like, oh yeah, like I got the chicken and like I got the parmesan and the ricotta and like it's just like you're just assembling it stuff at that point.
Right, right.
So I don't know, I find that part like so fun to me, like that's the best part. I feel like I don't know why it is, but on social media, like if people get mad at you, that just boosts the videos because it creates like conversation, you know. But people get so mad when you call like, "Oh, this chicken parm's vegan." It's like, well, and then they're like, "Well, why do you call it chicken parm?" And I'm like, "Well, what else am I going to call it? Like a thin piece of tofu and vital wheat gluten? Like, no one's going to buy that, you know." Um,
Right.
so yeah, I love that. Like I love creating it and yeah, like I said, like that's my favorite part is like how can I make this actually taste good and then how can I make like a meat eater enjoy it? You know, like my in-laws are very supportive of me, but they also love chicken wings and beer and all this normal stuff. I mean, I like beer too, but chicken wings, like sausages, all these like real meat and potato things. So I love the challenge of like, especially my father-in-law, because he's such a great guy, but also, loves his meat. So uh, getting him to like something is always that's like the gold standard.
You seem like a little bit of a shy guy. How has being on the internet, making these videos, being on social media, has that opened you up a little bit?
Yeah, I've always been associated with the word shy, and I don't know why that is because I don't think I'm the older I get, I think I am truly an extroverted person. I might come across as shy, but I don't know why that is. Maybe because I'm not, yeah, like super loud. And I just, it might be because I genuinely think because I'm a triplet. And like, this is hard to explain. But if there's any triplets or twins listening, like growing up, I feel like I didn't have to talk to especially my twin brother. Like, we literally didn't have to communicate. I just like know what he's thinking at all times. And that sounds nuts, but like, and I think that might have affected like why I come across as shy because if I talk to people, it's like I do talk, but with 18 years of your life growing up with someone that you share a room with, that communication can get kind of skewed, I guess. But with the internet thing, like, it's weird. I'm not like, maybe if I was in like an AC, like a stadium performing in front of 200,000 people, it'd feel different. But because it's just the internet, nothing has changed at all. It's just like, I still really enjoy posting videos. So that's what I'm going to do. And like, I wouldn't say it necessarily opens you up more, but it's just something I genuinely don't think about because I don't see those people in front of me. You know what I mean?
Right. This is going to be my last cooking question for you, and then we will do our quick wrap up that we normally do. This is the question I have for you, and I need you to describe it. How do we make the swirly pasta lump? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where we go in and we swirl the pasta, and then we put it in the bowl, and it's a nice little like bird's nest swirl.
Yeah.
What are we doing wrong? What am I doing wrong?
Oh, you know what? As a homeowner, I've had this home for like 3 years. You really need the right tools for the job, or else things will just take longer. So a lot of people don't have these tools at home that like a restaurant would have. So to make that little nest, you kind of need like a really big, really big fork.
Big fork.
Like it's not even a fork that you'd eat with. It's like if you ever
serving fork.
Yeah, if you ever gone to like a buffet and like someone's like carving like ham or something, they usually have like a large kind of fork to like prop the slices up on while they slice.
Right.
So something like that.
And do we do it directly out of the water in the pot, or do we strain it and do it out of the strainer?
Yeah, so it depends. First of all, I always toss the cooked pasta into another pan and then cook that with the sauce and kind of emulsify the sauce together.
Same.
But if you're a sauce on top person, I actually prefer sauce on top of the pasta because I like little bites of sauce or pasta with nothing on it. But my wife doesn't like that, so we do sauce in the pan. So if you have that fork, you're basically you could use a ladle until you get good at it, but like put the pasta in the ladle and then you're kind of twirling the pasta around the fork, and then you kind of like slide it into the bowl or the plate off of the fork.
Kind of like how we're supposed to eat pasta with a spoon and a fork and spoon it and swirl it in a smaller amount, but in a larger.
Exactly. Like you're already doing that with like the spoon and fork on your plate, but you're just doing it with a larger portion.
Or you could just fly to my house and do it for me and go home.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
We close these shows with 3 questions. Don't panic. You know the answers. Question number 1 is so easy. Where do people find you? How do they follow you? Plug away.
So yeah, my handle is at Fraser Cooks on Instagram, Fraser Cooks on TikTok, Fraser Cooks on YouTube. I do have some long format videos on YouTube if you're interested. I am going to get back into YouTube. I said this summer, so we'll see. And then on top of that, I have a website, frasercooks.ca, which is going to be getting redone. I also have 3 cookbooks on there for sale, and a bunch of other stuff. That's pretty much it. Fraser Cooks.
The last 2 questions can go back to anything we've already talked about or anything you want to say. Question number 1 is this: who inspires you?
I think like day to day, probably number 1 would be my wife. She like just thinking back into last year where I was like, I mentioned earlier, like 0 growth, just like posting videos with no real anything happening. The amount of times I was like, I'm just going to give up. And, it's weird. You can trim this down, but like, it's weird being in the food industry and kind of not really like I don't have any ego or anything like that, but I do think that I've experienced a lot in this industry. So I think I've kind of, I've had my own restaurant. I've worked in a lot of different places. I've put out cookbooks. I've done all this stuff. So like the social media thing is kind of like my last thing. So it's like, if I give up on that, I don't want to go work back in a kitchen again. I don't want to go open a restaurant. So what do? And her constantly supporting me and believing in me is not necessarily like inspiring, but it's just like you need someone like that in your corner. So she's inspiring, and then more, more, I guess, traditionally in the food sense, I look to a lot of non-vegan people, because like I said, that's fun. Like that's looking at a recipe and being like, shit, how do I make this vegan? That's usually the first thing I think about. So there's this guy, Chuck Cruz, and his girlfriend, partner, Haley. They both have their own accounts, which are amazing, but I actually really like their combined account, which is called Two People Cooking, where they make like these more long format videos every Friday night. And it's super chill and like, it's just hilarious. So I find a lot of inspiration with them. I really like what Food 52 is doing. And then obviously my younger brother and his wife are incredibly inspiring.
And the final question is not even a question, it's a statement to finish. It's very easy. Tell me something good.
Well, I've recently gotten back into hot yoga, and I think this instructor I had yesterday said, rent is due every day for yourself. You got to pay rent on like in your body. So, and that's like a metaphor for like, this is just movement or exercise she was referring to, but like kind of anything. Like if you want to get good at something or you want to have success, nothing happens overnight. So honestly, just get started, and you never know where it'll lead you. So I think that's pretty good. I often think about this quote from, well, not direct quote, but Seth Rogen talks about the guy from Lord of the Rings. I don't even know his name, Ian McKellen, I think. And he said, this dude, Gandalf, he wasn't famous until he was 90 years old or whatever, 80 years old. So he was an actor for like 80 years, not necessarily struggling, but not necessarily Gandalf, So I guess the good news is if you keep going, you never know what's possible.
Thank you, Fraser, for sharing your good story. Next time on World Gone Good.
We don't want to drink your chemicals. We don't want to drink your plastic anymore. We don't want to drink your frack water and our groundwater. And here's a system that pulls water out of the air. If we can concentrate, put that much technology into a cell phone, into a computer, into social media, or anything else that's out there, using technology, we can also save people's lives.
You know that saying, make it rain? Moses West is literally doing that each and every day. Through his foundation, he created the atmospheric water generator, where you can simply press a button and a big metal box starts creating fresh, drinkable water. From Flint, Michigan, all the way to the Ukraine, he is fulfilling his good mission of bringing a sustainable source of water right to the people. I can't wait for you to hear this oh-so-good conversation with a personal hero of mine. Until then, be good.